going to be too distracting for you as we go in. So welcome everybody. This is our second Lunch and Learn that we've done with the local care partnerships this year. We're really pleased that we've got Sam Haggart joining us today. Sam works for Leeds Older People Forum, and she's been doing a project that's called the BOSS Project, which is Be Online, Stay Safe. So Sam is going to give you a little bit of an overview of that project today, but also part of what we're hoping to do with Lunch and Learn is to give people tips that they can take back into their own roles. So with that in mind, Sam is also going to be giving us a really practical overview of Google Translate and how we can use that in a health and care setting. So we are recording today so that we can actually put it on our YouTube channel later, so anybody that couldn't join us is able to watch it, or if you wanting to rewatch any of the bits again, then you're able to do that. So I'm going to pass straight over to Sam, who I believe is going to set us off with a couple of questions for us, and then we'll get into her presentation.
Okay, can you still hear me, Louise? Can you still hear me on here?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, that's okay. Sorry about that. My screen had gone a bit greyed out. Have you got the presentation as well, Louise? It's just. Can you hear me okay? So just to introduce myself while we see if we can get the presentation started, I'm Samantha and I'm from Leeds Older People's Forum, and I do the digital coordinator job there. And we've been working on a project called Be Online, Stay Safe for the last year or so. And basically we've been trying to help people build up their digital skills, their literacy skills. And we've been working out with a lot of areas where English isn't their first language, which leads into the Google Translate work that we've been doing as well. I can't see the presentation, Kim. Is it on the screen?
I'm just trying to find it on my
That's okay.
screen so that I can pull it.
That's okay.
Not showing in the list of things that I've got open. So I'm just going to see if I can get into my windows. I've got it now.
That's okay.
Can you see that, Sam?
Let's have a look. I can't, but maybe other people can.
Yeah, we can see it as the rest of the meeting.
That's okay, that's fine. So yeah, so firstly, just thinking about your own organisations. I don't know if anybody wants to share anything or unmute themselves, maybe raise their hands, Kim. Just asking about, think about what difference it would make to your organisation if people could access your services digitally, because it's a huge problem now that more and more things have obviously gone online, but equally more people are struggling as well, you know, to access online services. So I don't know if anybody wants to come in on that. One of the things I teach a lot on is things like the patches. We've had people on my image there, I put the parking app on because I know some people who have actually stopped going into Leeds because of the parking meter problems of not being able to use the Ringo app. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has anything they want to come in that they think would benefit them or be more quicker if people could access the services online.
Hi, Sam.
Hiya.
Hi, it's strange seeing you on here, neighbours. Sorry, just really strange seeing you there, but never mind. When you mentioned patches then, that is something that we find with our elderly population. As social prescribers, we have a lot of elderly people who we support, and trying to get them to understand how patches works is quite difficult. We can obviously signpost a lot of our patients out to organisations to help them get online, but those organisations aren't necessarily able to help them set up patches and give them lessons in how to use it as such. So
yeah,
that is something that does definitely hit home for us.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, I find the people we teach on patches, once they see it and understand it, they really do see the benefits of using it. I think it is for me teaching, it's one of the easier ones to teach. The problem we have is different GP surgeries across Leeds. Not all are using patches, some use their own version and some use the NHS app. So for us teaching, it's quite difficult sometimes to know which to teach them on as well. But I don't know if there's a plan for everybody to go onto patches, just so we've got one system, which would be great if that happened. But yeah, it can certainly save people a lot of time using patches. And a lot of our older people are just not always up at 8 o'clock to ring their doctors. And I feel a lot of them are actually missing out on, you know, getting the right healthcare as a result as well.
Definitely,
it is something that does need addressing, does that? But yeah, there's so many services that people are possibly struggling to access online. Now everything is going online as well. So yeah, just looking at the next slide. So us as third sector, this is just a question about what challenges do third sector face when implementing a digital offer. Now I'm not sure how many we've got on from third sector, but I don't know if anybody wants to share anything on that. It's obviously a huge challenge, the amount of people that want training at the moment, probably more than any of us can actually cope with as well in terms of our services. But is there anybody on from third sector who is dealing with this at the moment and wants to share anything about the challenges that they're facing? If not, Kim, on slide 4, I've put down kind of the challenges that we've come across ourselves.
I can see Rachel had popped her hand up. I can't, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't see everybody, but I don't know whether Rachel wants to make...
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Sam. I'm within Kim's team, so not representing the third sector at the moment, but just to kind of flag that last week I did get an inquiry from a third sector organisation seeing how they could potentially access iPads, tablets, because they were finding that it was something that they really needed to help embed you know, a digital offer and upskill people digitally within some of the groups that they were running. So it's just a very relevant thing that you know, and it's something that's shared across organisations.
Yes, and I know I don't know if Rachel's on from 100% digital, but I know that all of us are looking to try and get more and more places that people can access training across Leeds, because it's such a huge need. But it does come with significant challenges as well. I've just, if you just maybe go, are you on to slide 4 there, Kim? I've just put down the organisational factors that we're up against. Obviously, I won't go through all of these, and I can share the slides afterwards with anybody, but obviously we're up against limited financial resources. We're always looking for grants, donations to continue digital work. Some years it's better than others, but sometimes there aren't as much funding out there, unfortunately, for this kind of work. We've got staff skills and training. You can only teach people what you know yourself. So I come across people who have never used patches themselves or certain device apps. Obviously, they can't teach. So there is another side of this in teaching staff as well, how to use all these apps and things so they can actually pass on and teach to the people that they're working with. Some centres struggle with Wi-Fi. We've been doing some work with 3 who we do have a contact there who will work with any charity who wants to even maybe cut their costs or set up Wi-Fi, like portable Wi-Fi for training as well. So that's an option for some of the centres. If you just go on to slide 5, Kim. We also
Sorry, if I could just interrupt there, Sam's apologies.
Yeah.
Anna Marie has put something in the chat saying that their problem is getting the information out to the people to let them know the digital offer is there.
Oh, okay, in the area as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with Anne Marie's Centre, but I mean, we used to always use a lot of newsletters, posters. We'd invite people in, you know, just for information sessions as well, and just. But we always had a really big coffee morning when I worked at Crossgates Good Neighbours that we could pull on there with the posters that we had. But I mean, Anne-Marie, if you want to maybe book, you know, have a conversation with me separately, I'm happy to do that. You've probably got my details, but you can take them anyway and we can have a catch up if that helps. So just going on to the learner challenges on slide 5. Again, these are some of the things that have come out of the project that we've just been delivering. A lot of people obviously have got limited experience with technology, and we've really got to start at a lower level with people. There's a lot of fear, a lot of resistance to technology. Again, we're dealing with even vision, dexterity, having to set up devices in a way that they can use them. I had one person and they didn't understand that they could make their font larger on their phone, so weren't able to read their text messages very well. Nobody had ever shown him that, and it's like life-changing when you increase the font and they can actually read their messages from their doctor or their taxis. But people are not telling people this information, even their families as well. Again, on to slide 6. One of the things that we really do when teaching is we make everything relevant to real life examples. So if we're doing Google searches, for instance, if they might want things like where to find their next bus or again, health information, but we try and apply everything to real life so it's relevant. There's no point showing them things, and I know I've done this before, if they're never going to use it. I might have done sessions on shopping online, for example, which are great sessions, but if they're not ready to do that for another year or two, we're just wasting our time doing that. So we have to really meet them where they are now and show them the things that they're going to use, you know, right now as well. And just give them a basic set of digital skills to be able to do this as well. And we really, all the time, we've got to simplify the lesson as much as possible for people. So what we came up with on slide 7, Kim, was the course that we came up with. It was called Be Online, Stay Safe. We call it BOSS for short. Leeds Older People's Forum got funding for this last year, and we worked with 5 partners to deliver this course. And we aim to give people a minimum set of digital skills to allow them to carry out everyday transactions. So we know we can't show people everything, it just takes far too long. So we're just basically showing them how to search the internet, how to do emails, how to manage health online, and how to keep safe online as well. There's still a lot in there, but it's a minimum set of skills that we're trying to give people. And then hopefully the tools that they can go on and keep learning in the future themselves. And the way that we structure this, if we go on to slide 8, it's been developed over 4 modules. We created a standard approach across 5 charities to deliver the exact same course across 5 charities. It's something quite new that what Tully's in trialling this as a consistent approach to teaching digital. So these are the 6 modules that we do. We start off with the very basic phone navigation. We get them to send and receive emails and attach photos. If we go on to slide 9, I think we're on, we do looking at safe internet searching, how to find information on the internet. Then we will do Google Translate, and that depends on the learner. Sometimes we might do that right at the beginning, and I will cover that in more detail soon with some of you that want to know how to do that. And then on to slide 10, we do a lot around online safety with people and around health literacy as well. And a big part of the Be Online Stay Safe course was around media literacy or digital media literacy, which was getting people to question what they see online as well. and not take everything at face value. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So like with health literacy, we encourage people to go to the NHS website and not just, you know, end up on Dr. Google and finding all kinds of misinformation as well. So there's a lot of that around fact checking and questioning what people see, particularly as well with AI coming in. There's a lot of fake images out there as well at the moment. So that's the overall course that we're running, and every one of these modules, for any of the third sector on here that want to run this course, every one of these modules, a workbook's being created, which will be on the Leaseholder People's Forum website, I think by the end of March, that anybody will be able to have access to and use them with their learners as well. They've all been tested and they've all been well received. And it saves anybody teaching out there, you know, hours of time in creating all of this. So you're welcome to pick it up and take it and use it. Has anybody got any questions on that? That was quite a quick run through of the actual course before we talk about the Google Translate.
There's nothing in chat.
Yeah. That's okay. But yeah, we've put, I think so far we've put 113 learners through this course over the last, probably been delivering about 8 months across 5 partners. And it's all been evaluated. If anybody wants to read all this, as I say, it will be all on our website, a full evaluation report, there'll be a toolkit, all of this information, loads of resources, assessment sheets, some how-to videos as well that I've created on how to use the Google Translate. So I'll send that all out via you, Kim, and Louise when it's all ready for people to access, as well as these slides as well, if that's okay for anybody that wants to, you know, have a look and find out more. But I think as well, one of the things that has come out of all this, particularly working with the communities that I've been working with over the last 5 months, as I say, but I think we found about 70% of the people, English wasn't their first language that we were teaching. And I've taught quite a few of these classes actually via a translator as well, or through using Google Translate myself to try and communicate with people. And one of the things I didn't kind of realise or think about in the beginning was because quite a lot were quite low skills digitally. A lot didn't know how to use Google Translate on the phone. I think I just made an assumption that you know, that more people would be able to do that, and it wasn't happening. One of the ladies up at Health for All, you can see on this quote, she didn't bank online because although she can speak English quite well, she can't read English enough to feel confident in, you know, making decisions, especially around the banking. So through conversations up there, I made a decision that we had to build Google Translate and teach people how to use this as part of the Be Online Stay Safe course. If we just go on to slide 12, Kim. So I will go through for anybody that wants to know how to do this in a few minutes. I'll give you some instructions for anybody who wants to have a practice of this while you're on the call. But these are some of the things that we've taught people, which may be relevant to some of you working, depending on the communities that you're working with. But we showed people how to use their Google Lens on their phone and to translate printed documents and letters. So letter comes through the post, even menus. I'll teach a group from Hong Kong and they really like to be able to translate the menus now when they're out and about. So they can point the phone at anything and translate it with one click on the phone. They can also use Google Translate just to speak into it and have conversations. Some could do that, some couldn't. So for some, that was a new thing that they learned. If we just go on to slide 13. And again, one of the things with the Google Translate, after taking a letter on the phone, it can be quite small. So they've learned that they can actually click on the listen button and it will read it back to them in their chosen language, which again, for quite a few has been really beneficial, particularly if we've got vision and as I say, it can look quite small on your phone as well. They also liked how to translate websites into any language. So we've set the phones up just to do that in one click as well. And then onto slide 14, these are just some of the benefits that I've had with people on this. So yeah, we had a support worker who could photograph the medical form alongside an NHS worker, use Google Translate to complete the form with the person who couldn't speak English very well. And there was nobody in that centre who could speak the learner's language either. So it meant that they didn't actually have to pay and bring a translator in. They could actually just get it done there and then, which obviously saved time. Another learner messaged their family in English on WhatsApp. But one of the things they can do, and I probably won't have time to show it on here, was to set up their keyboard in 2 languages. So we've set up the keyboard in Urdu and English. So when they're typing back home, they can switch the keyboard and type back to the family in Urdu and not in English, so they can understand and have better conversations as well. So they're some of the benefits that we've come across. So I don't know if anybody wants to have a go at doing this, but I've just put on here. And if you do have your phones to hand, this works only with the Google Lens icon, which if you can see on here, I'm just put down the instructions for you. But if anybody wants to try this while you're on the call, if you've got your phones, you would open up and find your Google toolbar and look for the little camera icon on the right hand side there. I don't know if anybody's doing this, but if you want to just have a look at that and just tap on it, and you should see a translate option. If anybody tries this and makes it work, if you come on and tell us, but if you've got a letter or a document next to you, that you just hover over and it will translate for you instantly. Some of you may have done this when you're in Spain or abroad.
Yeah, I was going to say I use this on holiday all the time. It just makes getting around really easy and ordering food really easy.
Yes, yeah, it is really good. And for anybody, for the people I work with who've never seen this, when they see the words change to their language, it's like magic before their eyes. It's an amazing thing for them to be able to use if they've never done it before. Has anybody else ever done that, or is that something new for any people on the call?
That's new for me, but it worked.
It worked. You've got it to do it.
Thank you.
So pass it on to somebody else if once you've learned.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How do you get that lens up?
So if you have you got Google on your phone, it's not as easy if you're on an Apple phone because you'd have to put Google on. But have you got just Google itself? You know, the G or the Chrome. If you open Google and it does yours say search, and then you've got the little microphone, and can you see that little camera sign, that blue on the right hand side? I'm just looking on my phone.
Oh yeah.
If you just tap on that, the first time you use it, it will say allow access, and you have to do the permissions. And then you should see on the bottom, if you scroll across, you should see translate, search, homework. If you just tap on the translate, you can choose your language at the top. Have you got that?
I seem to have the Google Translate, but I don't see. I get it now.
And then you take a photo of if you've got a written document next to you, take a photo, and then you change the language at the top. You see on my image it says English and Arabic. You tap on the right hand side and change, and you can change the language to any language. Has anybody else been able to do that, or if you just pop in chat before we move on. Or has anybody else got any questions?
That's working great at my end.
Yeah, I
I've
use
just
this
tried
a
it
lot
too on an Apple, and it's working really well.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to use this with people's phones that are set up in their own language completely. So I'll hover my phone over their phone to translate it into English. So I know where I'm tapping on their phone when I'm doing a lesson. So you can use it in various ways. But yeah, it's great for anybody. I was at a museum and they had something in Chinese on a stone, and I just hovered that over at the weekend to translate it to see what it said. And for the person who said about going abroad, it's for us going abroad, it's so useful as well. Before we move on to websites, has anybody got any more questions on that, or is that useful for people?
There's no questions in chat.
That's okay. So if we just go on to slide 16, and as I say, I'll send these slides out, so if people want to come back to this and have another go. But I have recorded short videos on my phone of how to do this for anybody else, which I can link to as well if people want to watch those, because I know it's not as easy teaching like this over this. But yeah, if we just go on to slide 15, how to translate written documents. Now, you would need the Google Translate app on your phone if you do want to do this, which again is free and easy to put on. And if you do have it on your phone, you would basically go into Google again. It's a little bit different on Apple, and I have got separate instructions for that in my workbooks. But you would just go into Google itself again. I've just put down there to open up the Leeds City Council website. Just bringing it up on my phone. And then in the top right hand corner, you should be able to see 3 dots. But as I say, this will only work if you actually open up the website. This will only work if you've got the Google Translate app on your phone. And you should be able to see 3 dots in the top right hand side. Mine's towards the bottom, it just says translate. I'll just let you all have a look at that, see if anybody can get that working. But you may have to just say put the Translate app on first. But again, if you're working with anybody, I sometimes have to use that to translate a website to then show somebody that I'm working with, so that they can understand. But equally, I set up their phone so they can translate any website back into their language as well. Has anybody got any questions or comments or? Or has anybody ever done that before?
So Sam, I think sometimes when you're on Google, if you're on a foreign language site, it will give you the option to translate it into English, won't it? It will recognise that you're on a foreign language site.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, if you go on a foreign language site, but if for people here accessing an English site who want it translating the other way around, yeah. But yeah, I've been on sites, you're right, from abroad, and it's like maybe friends trying to book train tickets or holiday sites, and it will automatically translate back. But this is to translate English sites into languages for other people. So I think, like, I know certainly Patches does have its translation built in. I've looked at that, and it's already built into Patches, which is good. But a lot of sites need the translation for people. So
do you need to be using a Google browser to be able to use the Translate app on it?
Yeah, you have to put the Google app first on your device, and then you have to use the Google browser. if you're on Apple, it's a slightly different way, and we do have instructions for that. I can't do both ways on here, but Apple will also do it just as well as Google and has the translation built in. But yeah, again, if anybody's working with anybody who's struggling, they may not know that they can do this on their phone. So if you're trying to get them to look at a website, Leeds City Council, benefits website, anything like that, it can be set up just in one click to translate for them, so they can understand more of what they're reading as well. So yeah, hopefully that's given you a couple of things to have a play with. But I will send you out the more detailed videos. The one where you took the photograph, when you re-practice that, you will see at the bottom that there's an option to click listen, and that allows you that will let the phone read the letter or the document back to the person in their chosen language. And as I say, have a practice of that, because a lot of people do like that option as well. But the more confident you are in using it, then it's easier to teach somebody, afterwards, when you've had to play around with it. So is there any more on that, Kim, before we go to questions? Just on the last slide.
I don't think so. I think so I shared your very last slide that's got your email address, and there's just a quick query in the chat, because it says OP form, not OP forum on the presentation. So that's just a typo, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to put that in now.
Yeah, sorry, OP forum. Yeah, I bet spell checker did that to me. Never rely on spell checker. So yeah, it's Samantha at opforum.org.uk. But I'll send everything out via you, Kim, and then they can, if anybody wants to get in touch with me, you can do. The final photo, if you can see that, we created certificates for this course, and I never really realised the power of certificates until I started giving them out to people. And I don't think, for many people, they've probably not had certificates maybe ever or since they were in school. So we always make a thing of doing an actual certificate presentation at the end of this course, and they all really do, you can see by some of the people here, enjoy receiving their certificates. So we do have blank certificates that people can download if they're doing this course as well, if they want to give those out to people, just to celebrate their learning, really. Make it a nice celebration afterwards. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy to stay on, Kim, if anybody's got any general questions. As I say, if anybody wants to get in touch with me, I know Anne-Marie, as I say, if you want to get in touch with me afterwards, I'm happy to have a chat further. But I don't know if anybody else has got any general questions, or if they feel that's something that they would use when working with people, particularly from those where English isn't their first language, to show people that skill.
I think it's such a brilliantly simple tool to be able to show, isn't it, Sam? That's, I mean, you've just shown all of us, and as long as we've got the Google Translate bit on our phone, and we know what icon to look for the lens, you can just test it out and get it so quickly, so you can see how to be able to do that with somebody else would have such a great impact.
Yes, yeah. I mean, as I say, I think I must have taught about 50, 60 people this over the last few months, and I mean, you're giving people the gift of communication, or better communication, and more confident in what they're reading online, or the letters or things like that. Because some can speak English really well but struggle to read it. They might not be able to read it as well. So it is a massive gift to give to people. And the technology we have now is so amazing that, to be able to do this and share, give that to people from where we were, a few years ago. But I use it a lot to communicate. Sometimes when I'm doing lessons, I set it up and it's doing speech to transcribe, because I I've sometimes taught lessons where 3 different languages in the class, and one guy spoke Arabic and could hardly understand me. So I had to set my phone up next to him as I'm speaking, and it's transcribing what I'm saying to him, so he can read my phone, and the rest of the class can understand maybe 50% of what I'm saying. But we get by with with a lot of you know, determination. We get by and get the teaching done, which has been really good as well. But there's always a solution, I always believe, to anything that you're trying to do, and we can find that solution if particularly around technology, as well.
So I used to be in a social prescribing role before joining Kim's team at the LCP development team, and a lot of the clients we served, language was a huge barrier, and you know, translating letters from the council for whatever reason around and bills and all sorts, and often it would be the children that would be translating them for them, or sometimes even just taking over the management of the house at quite a young age. So it's going to, you know, make an impact on those people as well. So it's not just the people you're working with, it's thinking about the impact it's going to have on those people who sometimes step in as a carer, just because the English is the barrier, rather than actually this person being unable to deal with those things, you know. So it's huge. I'm definitely going to be forwarding this on to some ex-colleagues of mine.
Yes. It's I think when we started to develop this, I thought actually people are just not aware or not teaching this, so I just really want to get it out there more, that it's some simple tools that can help so many people, and it's trying to kind of spread the word. And it doesn't take much time for anybody working with them, because you're right, for anybody on social prescribing, if you're seeing somebody one-to-one, having that tool, you can just translate the letter there and then for them. I've done support work before, and so it's just amazing to have that available if you're with somebody, to be able to, you know, deal with it there and then. I know some of the centres that they have to pay £30 or more an hour to get a translator in, as well. And I'm sure there'll always be the case that that's sometimes needed, but this may also help to, you know, to do things quicker in the short term as well, on some of the projects. But I hope it's beneficial, and that you can certainly, like you say, share it with more people that are going to benefit from that. And then look out for the videos, very short videos done by me. So, but I just wanted to teach more people how to do it, so you can have a look at the videos if you haven't quite followed how to do it today. It shows you on the video as well.
I think the videos are a great one to be able to just play when you're at places as well, though. So like if we're doing a session somewhere, we could just say, do people know about this? We've got a quick video to show you, and it just spreads skills that bit quicker, doesn't it?
Yes, it's just, as I say, you can only teach what you know, and if you don't know these things, then obviously you don't know to tell people. It's just trying to, we teach a lot of our members, but we also have to upskill staff as well on some of, you know, things that they can spread and teach, because if nobody's might not have come across this before either themselves, or ever had a need to use it, but certainly it's becoming more and more in our day-to-day work that I don't know how many languages we've got in Leeds, but you know, must be coming up. I bet there's over 100 languages in Leeds now, so it's becoming more and more that communication and how to communicate with tools is going to happen a lot more as well.
Can I just ask Sam a broader question about the BOSS course? So that sounds brilliant.
Yes.
But like, if you're an organisation that's thinking, I'd really like to get my hands on those materials for the people that we support, or maybe if we've got some of the practices here as whether we could actually yeah, how do people get access to it, I suppose? How do people get the materials if they want it for the people they support? If somebody's say from GP practice and they're thinking, I know if somebody would really benefit from that, is it still running places to signpost people to?
So the actual course, I think what we're trying to do is get more and more of the neighbourhood networks involved and using the materials over the coming months, kind of coming up. The 5 centres that I've been working with, is probably only 2 or 3 may continue. A lot of it's down to funding. I know Age UK have started to use it at some of their centres. So what I can do, Kim, once all the materials go live on our website, which should be by the end of the month, everything will be on there for people to download, with links to all the videos, the toolkit that says how we did all this. I'll send that out to you. And then I think if anybody's got anybody specifically, I guess it's either knowing what's in the area or linking back to myself or 100% Digital Leads. Is anybody on from 100% Digital Leads on this call? I can't see who's on, but I know equally they will also link you up with anybody within your areas that have got training available. They know all the places across Leeds that are doing digital training as well. So, but yeah, I can send it all out to you, Kim, to send out to the group, definitely. But yeah, it's all there to use. It's all just open access. If we do ask if people use it, we probably would just that we keep their details just to follow up with, just for any feedback, see how it's going, if they need any questions or anything like that. But we don't ask for it, we're not, so don't charge or anything for any of it. It's all out there. It will all be out there for people to use. So, and the health module's a good module because it's kind of a bit pre-patches. It talks about, gets people to look at their doctor's website and explore what online services their doctors has, as well as looking at the NHS website, how to get them information on there as well. And then kind of prepping them to then think about using online services. That was the aim of that website as well, because some are not quite ready, but when they start looking at it, they realise actually I do want to use this now.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sam. I feel like I personally have learned a whole ton this lunch break. Hopefully it was really helpful to other people as well. Ruth, you wanted to come in.
Sorry, there is another question in the chat that we've not touched on yet, from Karen, saying, how have you overcome the barrier of fear with the elderly, Sam? Some are just adamant that they don't want to learn.
Yeah, I know. And that fear can come from so many places, sometimes from well-meaning friends and family as well. It is very tricky. So a lot of the ones we see have got a phone and are very limited users. So they just need some gentle encouragement to do a little bit more. And for some, it might just be playing games or a very basic YouTube search. For those that have never taken a step to being online, can be harder to get there as well. I know some centres just have iPads out in their lunch clubs, again, around getting people to play games and just have a little go or look at photographs as well. But that fear, it's looking at, I mean, we do a session on online safety, and it's looking at the positives of being online. And I guess looking at where that fear comes from and kind of almost having to challenge that fear sometimes. For some people, their perception of fear is disproportionately high. They have to be careful. And for us as teachers, when teaching, I always try and teach, but in a way that is not designed to scare them, because quite often you can teach people and create more fear of like, don't do this, don't click on that link. I saw a lady a doctor had been trying to send in her links that she should have, I think it was to do her patches, that she'd ignored for 3 or 4 weeks or whatever, because a family was like, don't click on any links. And there's just so many messages that we have to try and overcome with people. as well as the TV programs on a morning that I'm sure you're all aware of, that they all watch, that a lot watch, that we talk about scams. But it's, I think if you can just find something that they like or a reason for being on there, you can pull them in as well to use in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it is
a tip I got, or example I got before was someone who was adamant he didn't want to go online, but he was an avid football fan. So someone showed him how to check the scores online, and that was one. It was just a foot in the door to, you know, get him started.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and for some people, they might only ever do 1 or 2 things, and that's absolutely fine. If that's all, because you know, it might take them 2 or 3 years to bank online or do whatever. But it's kind of, if that's all they want to do for now, and get their confidence, because we've been on these devices, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years, most of us. So when they're just starting to go from where they're at now to shopping online, you know, for some it's going to take more than a year to have the confidence to do that. Some might just be happy with the games for 6, 7 months, and that's all they want to do. Or like you say, the scores as well. And it's just a lot of repetition and practice, and going at their speed as well. Not teaching what we think that they want, but we want them to know it's got to be what is right for them. And as I say, meeting them where they are now. If they're not ready for it, there's no point in teaching it to them. We might think we want them to bank online, but they could be nowhere near that stage yet of teaching them, if that makes sense. So
thanks, Sam. I think a lot of the neighbourhood networks, and you'll know yourself because you were an absolute forerunner at Crossgates Good Neighbours, but a lot of the neighbourhood networks in Leeds are very good at doing that kind of digital buy stealth thing, aren't they? And finding out where people's interests are.
Yes, yeah. I know. I know Anne over at Leeds Irish Home, she brings the iPads out into many of her lunch groups and just brings out photographs or games and things like that, and just encourage people to reduce, as you say, reduce that fear around them. She has them all playing Wordle. If anybody plays Wordle, that's the big thing out there. Gets people having fun on them.
I think Bermontos community friends, that was Bermontos Senior Action, they lure people in with toast and tea, and then digital's kind of an aside that way as well.
Yes, yeah. There's 2 groups. It's the ones that have never been on, which are harder to pull in. But then the other group is a massive group of people that have got phones but are very limited users. And they're most of the ones that we get on classes. They might text, maybe WhatsApp and make a phone call, but not doing a lot else with their phone, just because they don't know how to do. Nobody's ever shown them how to do it. I think a lot of phone shops are getting better at spending time teaching people than maybe they were before. I know the 3 we've been working with are trying to do a lot more in their phone shops in spending time with people. Certainly the banks, Virgin and HSBC, they've done some talks with us, and they will set anybody up on online banking, so you can send people down there instead of, you know, teaching anything like that yourself as well. So although there are other resources out there apart from the digital workers that we can tap into. So, but yeah, has anybody got
Sam?
Yeah, so
any other comments or questions for Sam before we wrap up the session today?
There's nothing else in the chat.
No.
Thank you, Louise. Well, thank you so much again, Sam, for sharing your time and knowledge and giving us such a lovely practical demonstration of how we can all just help other people really easily with our phones. It's given us plenty to think about. So yeah, I think a couple of people asked in the chat, but we'll share the presentation and the link to this recording afterwards. If you have got colleagues that you think this would be so helpful for them, then do please find the 2 minutes to just kind of share with your own phone what you've learned today, or point them in the direction of the slides. And if people need more information, Sam has kindly shared her details in the chat, but again, that will come out with everything else from today. Thank you so much, Sam, and thanks everybody else for coming.